The first reactions to Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker are here, and it's a mixed bag. After 40 years and 3 trilogies of Star Wars films, the Skywalker saga has officially come to a close, at least for those who saw the movie at Monday's red carpet premiere in Hollywood, California. I can't believe they made me say that. And those lucky few have shared their reactions on the internet. So we're here to break down those initial impressions into the good and the not so good, because boy oh boy, who would have guessed a Star Wars movie? People have thoughts. Now, since these are just reactions, we're going to keep this as spoiler-free as humanly possible. But if the very thought of knowing if someone liked or disliked a movie is something you consider to be a spoiler, then Godspeed in life. And also, our hearts go out to you, because the road until the movie releases on Friday is going to be a rough one. Honestly, stay off the internet if you're worried about it. So, what did the people think? Did The Rise of Skywalker, rise to the occasion? Well, the reactions place it all across the board. Some folks thought it was the best Star Wars movie ever. Some thought it really had too much going on, didn't quite stick the landing, definitely didn't carry Strugget. Divisiveness in reaction to a Star Wars film, I know, seems wild, but here we are, 40 years later. Still doing it. But let's start things off on the positive end of the spectrum with one of director J.J. Abrams' peers, filmmaker Ava DuVernay. She's no stranger to Star Wars herself. J.J. consulted her for The Force Awakens, and her reaction to the film was a concise, wow. Well, as Bill Shakespeare once said, brevity is the soul of wit. And yes, that was his nickname amongst friends, just ask Marlowe. Mashable's Angie J. Hahn had this to say: The Rise of Skywalker is, a lot. Tons to love here. No shortage of crowd-pleasing moments and twists and cameos, but also quite a bit to thinking emoji. Some faves: Janna, heart emoji; Dio, heart emoji; Finn, of course, heart emoji. And what a lovely send-off for our General Leia. Hearts emoji, rocket ship emoji, shooting star emoji. Sorry again to the poor internet to transcribe those emojis because they don't show up in the teleprompter. Slash Film's Peter Serretta offered even more hope for Star Wars fans. Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker reaction. J.J. Abrams nailed it. He was able to bring a cohesive arc to this trilogy that feels like a fitting end to the saga as a whole. I'm so emotionally drained. Star Wars fans will be very happy. Now, far be it for us to argue on the internet, but will Star Wars fans ever truly be happy?
Maybe.
Depends on which kind of Star Wars fan you are. Film writer Yolanda Machado said, "So I'm not too surprised, and at times I felt too much fan service was given, but The Rise of Skywalker is everything and nothing that you're expecting. So I guess what my immediate reaction is, God, I love this franchise, and I'll miss the Skywalker saga." Fandango's Eric Davis: "Epic. All of it. The Rise of Skywalker is a terrific finale, just stuffed with so much of everything. Action, adventure, answers, humor, heart, love, and grit. I spent the entire second half with tears in my eyes. A wonderful way to end the Skywalker story." And best-selling author Roxane Gay had this to say: "I really enjoyed Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. It offered a very satisfying conclusion to a 9-movie narrative arc. The strongest of the last trilogy. A few silly parts, but overall a damn good movie. Adam Driver was excellent. Better than he had to be. Fans won't be disappointed." Now, there must be balance in the Force, because among all of that lavish praise, there were also those who voiced their misgivings about the movie, such as Cinema Blend's Eric Eisenberg, who said, "There is good in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, but there's more that is disappointing. There are a number of choices that just don't track, fan service that doesn't work, and ignored details that are missed. I'm bummed." IO9's Jermaine Lucier had this to say, an enigmatic reaction, if you will: "Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has everything you want and more, which I don't necessarily think is a good thing. I loved parts, I didn't love others, and I'm leaving the theater very, very conflicted about it." And IGN's Terry Schwartz said, "I've seen Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. It's a lot. There's a lot I like and some I loved, but overall my feelings are pretty mixed. It felt like an apology for The Last Jedi in some ways, and a sequel to The Force Awakens in many, which I found frustrating." And these sentiments about the film being a sort of atonement for The Last Jedi seem to be a through line in many reactions. Vanity Fair's Joanna Robinson said, "If you loved The Last Jedi, I have some bad news for you. If you didn't, then you might be pretty stoked. Shrug emoji." The New York Times' Kyle Buchanan put it like this: "Rise of Skywalker could only have been ruder to Rian Johnson if they had motion smoothed it." Yikes! Wow, that is savage, my friend. And just a reminder to everyone out there, turn off motion smoothing on your family's TVs when you go to visit for the holidays. It'll truly be the best gift you could possibly give them and yourself. And some fella named Dan Casey, love that guy, posted his reaction to Twitter. What a handsome fella. And his tweet said, "All I can say is wow. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is many things. Horrifying, hopeful, violent, low-key horny, and full of the right kind of fan service. But most of all, it's a fitting ending for this incredible 40-plus year-long saga. Wow, what an insightful young man. Man, I really hope we hear more from that guy in the future. Now, all in all, these first reactions to The Rise of Skywalker seem to promise a film that tries a lot of big things that may or may not pay off for Star Wars fans, but it does its best to close out such a long saga. Now, the actual reviews for The Rise of Skywalker are going to be dropping very early on Wednesday morning, and you can bet your Last Republic credit that we can't wait to see what those have to say. Make sure you head to Nerdist.com at 12:01 a.m. Pacific time to see what we had to say about it. But in the meantime, what do you all think? Do these tweets have you hyped for The Rise of Skywalker? What trilogy of Star Wars films is your fave, and why? And were you on board for The Last Jedi or not? Let's discuss. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, why not give us a like and subscribe while you're at it? And if you want to get notified every time we go live with a new show or drop a new video, please feel free to mash that little bell. That way you can stay up to date on all the latest theories, news, and rumors in the pop culture world.